Welcome to the Couples Expert Podcast with Stuart Fensterheim, LCSW, your source for the latest tips and practical down-to-earth advice on creating emotionally connected, thriving relationships. Now, here's Stuart.
Hi there, and welcome to the Couples Expert Podcast. This is Stuart Fensterheim, the Couples Expert. I want to welcome you to another edition of the Couples Expert Podcast. It has been so incredibly hot here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We've hit 110 on record heat, and the average temperature in the month of June has now been over triple digits. And with that comes a lot of I just need to get away. So what has helped me really get through this is my wife and I are talking about taking a vacation at the end of July. We're going to go to Italy. And one of the things that I'm hoping to do is share with all of you when I get back what the cruise to Italy was like. We're going to be starting off going to Barcelona and then doing a few stops in Spain and then going to Rome. And I am so looking forward to getting back to Barcelona. I've been there before. And one of the things about Barcelona is it's just a fun city. And what's so cool about that is I'm talking a great deal this week because we're going to be talking today about something that I'm titling the Groundhog Day Marriage. And why I'm talking about the Groundhog Day Marriage is that one of the things that I know is that we need to really understand that we can't do the same things that hasn't been working and expect that it will. And one of the things, if some of you may recall the movie with Bill Murray called Groundhog Day, and it was someone who was in their life kept repeating over and over again. They'd wake up and really go through the exact same thing. And it was driving him mad because he needed to have it be something different, because he knew what he was expecting. And also he knew that he would make the same mistakes that he made the day before. And what I want today's podcast to really be about is to be about how do you have a marriage, a relationship in which you know that you learn from your mistakes, that you're going to do something a little bit different than you used to do. Because if something's not working, to keep doing that over and over and over again just seems ludicrous. But truthfully, that's what we do. So that movie came up because what happens is I often see couples in my office who are trapped in some kind of time warp. They come in and they talk to me about the things that just keep happening for them. They get caught up in their cycles. For example, their partner comes home from work, stressed out, and a little bit sort of short-tempered. And the other partner sees that and takes offense. And once that offense is taken, they get caught up, and the two of them begin to have a repetitive interaction that they've had many, many, many times before. And no one is talking about it. No one is saying, hey, we're there again. Let's not keep doing this. So what I want each and every one of you to be paying attention to is don't keep doing the same thing that doesn't work. When a certain action gets a certain reaction, you need to take a look and begin to ask yourself, what's this like for me? What is the cause and the effect on not just me personally, but what's the effect on the two of us? I want you to take an objective outsider point of view, as if you're a fly on the wall watching. Look at what happens. Look at the feelings that go into this for you. Because what I think you'll begin to recognize is you'll recognize that your experience may not be that different from your partner's experience. And the experience is going to be one of, it's going to feel crazy to you. It really is. it's going to feel like we're caught up in this thing and we can't get out of it. And I'll tell you why that is. The reason for that is because you're caught in a cycle. And the cycle is incredibly strong. And you can only beat this cycle if the two of you begin to work together. You know, one of my favorite movies is Independence Day. And I don't know how many of you saw it. I believe it was with Will Smith. And it was these aliens that were attacking the Earth. And what they were doing is they wanted to destroy the Earth. And the best way they could do that is to split the forces. So what happened in our world is that as a united front, we began to attack the enemy and we won. Yes, we did. And if you remember the end of the movie, I don't know about you guys, but I stood up and I cheered. And why I did that is I cheered not only because we beat those aliens, but I cheered because we worked as a team. We worked as a world standing together. And one of the things that I am wanting to share and what my mission is really all about is we can beat these cycles. We're in this together. We want a relationship. Both of you do. A relationship that's about being meaningful and being important to our partners and not questioning whether there's value. You know, another example is I saw a couple this weekend, and one of the discussions we had is about finances. And what comes up for lots of couples when they start talking about money is, do you understand me? And am I more important to you than just these financial issues? And what is so valuable and the thing that will bring two of you closer together every single time is when you point out to your partner what the real issues are. That it's not about money. It's not about you didn't follow through with what we promised. It's about, can I count on you? Are you truly there for me? And every interaction that we have, and I think the majority of them, is really about, do I matter to you? Am I special? And I think the more we can talk about this, the more we overtly speak the unspoken, the words that tell our partners, you matter to me, and when I get upset with you, it's really about not knowing if I am someone in your world that you do something that's unique and special because it's me, and that if I trusted that, if I truly believed that everything is about you wanting to connect with me, arguments become less intense, and we're able to figure this out. Another example, we have a couple, and I see this all the time, couples sitting in a restaurant or in a different social situation, and the partner's looking at their phone and never looks up when they're spoken to. And then there's an irritation that occurs and an argument starts. And they fight about the phone. But is that really what the fight's about? I would ask and suggest it's not. It's about, am I important to you? Do I matter? Is your phone more important right now than us spending time together? And if there's a question mark about that, there are global statements like, you always do this, you never do that. And it's really not about the phone. And I don't know how many of you are aware, but there's now a name for this. And I think it's supposed to be in the dictionary. It's called phubbing. Phubbing. It's when you snub someone with your phone. It's called phubbing. And it really is about just being unimportant and that you've snubbed someone, that they don't matter and the things on the phone matter more. And then the question that comes up for each partner is, can I count on you being there for me when I need you? And what we have to do is stop these negative cycles. So the question that comes up is, how do you stop them? What do you do? Do you try the same thing that you've tried before, such as yelling at your partner, being critical, or do you do something different? And I would ask you to try to jolt yourself out of that rut and try something different. So when your partner comes home stressed out, short-tempered, does the wife who plans on this happening do something different? I was brainstorming with one of my colleagues, and what we came up with is something pretty wild, is what would it be like if that snippy person comes home and is just really short-tempered, and the wife walks up to that husband and whispers to him that she's not wearing any underwear. Now, would it change the interaction that just took place? Would it switch it out of one realm of tension and being upset? And would it shift rather quickly into either something rather amorous or into the two of them cracking up and laughing and shifting out of that cycle into something different and something new? It doesn't have to be that big. It can be a small statement as well, where the partner is being sort of irritating, and the person that cares about them walks up to them and says, "You know how much I love you." All those things can turn the tables on this negative cycle and have it become something much more positive. You know, I want to take a little break with this and remind you guys of something. Number one, I want to remind you guys that every week we do these podcasts and we have show notes. And the show notes are on my website, which is at www.thecouplesexperts.com. And under podcasts, we'll have a list of show notes and resources. And one of the things that's also there on the website that I want to remind you about, because we're doing something that we've been doing for the last few months, and it's working out really wonderfully, which is I do a couples weekend retreat, which is a Saturday and Sunday where you dedicate a full weekend specifically to the two of you and your relationship. And I have one coming up called 2 Days, 7 Conversation. It's on July 9th and 10th. And I urge you to go to the website, take a look. There's some videos of people who have taken it before. And it's just an incredible, wonderful opportunity to learn more about these cycles and how to really shift your particular relationship out of that. And you're going to walk away with a very specific map on how to do that. So I encourage you to check it out if it sounds like something that you might be interested in. So what we were just talking about is how to stop these negative cycles. I think a big part of this is really doing things that are fun in the relationship and really trying to find a way to make the relationship special. One of the things of doing that, and I've done a recent video on this with my 3 Minutes with Stuart series, is about doing date nights. Now, date nights traditionally for most people are done on weekends. What I'm going to recommend is that instead of going straight home after work, where you can get charged up, why not have the two of you meet for a date night in the middle of the week? Rotate who gets a babysitter and plans for this. But the most important thing is the two of you recognizing that life is not just about the same thing over and over again. That you don't have to go to work, go home, put the kids to bed, and then you two argue, get irritated, sit down, watch some television, be more irritated, then go home, then go to bed and go to sleep. Why do you have to keep doing that same thing over and over again? Why not go to work, think about your wife, think about your husband, send them some cute texts, do some romantic things, leave a note in your husband's lunchbox, or put a cute card and a flower in your wife's car in the morning, or even something more simple like, how about just buying one of your wife or your husband's favorite thing, like orange Tic Tacs, for example? A simple thing. You can find that in almost any place, and leave it in the car with a note that says, thinking about you all day, and I'm wishing we were together. Doing things like that does take it out of being a Groundhog Day now, doesn't it? How about having a picnic, even on the living room floor, and have a staycation date night? Get a sitter to come in to watch the kids, put them to bed, and then the two of you sneak back into the house, into your room, and have your own little date night of a romantic time in your own room. Make a habit out of doing these types of things. What you want to do is also create these habits that are about the two of you and the love you have for one another. How about going for a walk every evening together and let it be special? Let it be something that the two of you see as a shared activity. And what we know is that exercise releases endorphins that calm the brain, relieve stress, and have the two of you getting something going between the two of you where there's more positive sense overall within your body, physically, mentally, and spiritually. One thing that I have a couple of couples that have done that have really turned the tables for them, which is, how about getting a dog? Maybe a groundhog for a groundhog. Nah, I'm teasing about that. No groundhogs allowed. Get a dog. A Labrador Retriever is my vote. My dog Ollie and I are best friends, and we go and I walk him every morning and every evening, and my wife and I have an ongoing commitment to one another that when I'm home and not seeing clients, that I will walk him, I will walk Ollie, and she and I will go for a walk together. And it really is a place that we connect. Now, this may sound very simplistic, that that's all it would take. And it really is simple, but far from simplistic. Some cycles, though, that couples are caught up in are much more complicated than that. So it's really important to understand the triggers that happen in order to know at what point a new behavior might have the needed impact. So you do have to think about the cycles you're in, think about the place that you and your wife might be, or you and your husband, and verbalize this. Verbalize the need to no longer live a Groundhog Day marriage. So what we want to pay attention to, if we begin to hear ourselves repeating the same words in an argument, or that the two of us seem to feel emotionally in a very much the same way, we want to stop the cycle right then and there and tell each other how much you love each other and that you hate what's happening between the two of you at that moment, at the moment that this is happening. And let each other know that it's scary, but I want to take a risk and talk about, I no longer want this type of interaction to happen between the two of us. This involves some risk taking, but I highly recommend that this is a risk that is worth taking, even in the worst of cycles, that you'll be able to have a day in which your Groundhog Day stops right then and there. And I want all of you listening to this podcast, listening to my 3 Minutes with Stuart, on Twitter over the next week or two, I want you to tweet out, let's do it this way. We're going to stop our Groundhog Day marriage. So I want you, starting on Friday of this week, start tweeting, we will no longer accept a Groundhog Day marriage. And I'd like to get as many tweets out there as we can and have people recognize that being in a Groundhog Day marriage is not acceptable, that we're going to have a marriage that's filled with love, acceptance, vulnerability, and a place where both of you feel loved and special. Now, one of the things that I know is that sometimes it's hard to recognize this. So I want to take a break and talk about something that I'm doing currently called an annual relationship and love test. What this is, and one of the things and the reasons for this, is what I've done is really put together a test that you will receive a full detailed analysis on your relationship, which is going to include the strengths and weaknesses of the relationship. And you're going to find out all the great things that the two of you are doing. This is a strength-based test that covers all the different areas. And for $79, the price of dinner and a movie, because I have to send the test off and I get results, and then you and I will schedule a 30-minute consult, and we'll talk over every single area of your relationship that is going well and let you know some of the challenges. This is not a test that says be in counseling. It's what I realize is everybody, almost all of us, go to the doctor every year. We take annual physicals. But how many of us take an annual assessment of our relationship? And that is the relationship, and that is the thing in our life that can make us the happiest or make us the most miserable. Isn't it worth doing that as well as some of the other things? So if you go to www.thecouplesexpertscottsdale.com, www.thecouplesexpertscottsdale.com, and click on the link in the landing page that says Annual Relationship Test, you'll be taken to a registration page in which you can schedule having the assessment done, and it's done by an email that gets sent to you. And then the two of you fill it out, I'll get informed, and then we'll sit down on the phone. We'll have a telephonic consult, and I'll go over the results with you. So now back to what we were talking about earlier is the little things in your relationship really make a big difference. And that's really what I want to stress today, that we need to really pay attention to the little things. One of the things in my life, in a period of my life where I was in a relationship, and when that relationship ended, it was really sad for me because I really believe that it didn't have to. And now that I know as much about emotionally focused therapy, I know it didn't have to, but we didn't know what the heck we were doing. So when I found a new relationship, the relationship that I have with my wife, the small things she did just seemed like fireworks because there were so many things in my last relationship that had me feeling alone and empty and had me feeling like I was not cared about because the authenticity wasn't there. And what I know is that when we're in a relationship where we truly feel that we can be authentic and transparent, love is in the air. And an example where this goes haywire is when you don't talk about the things that really matter. When socks are left on the floor, there's these incredible arguments that sometimes happen. But the arguments are not about the socks, even though that's what you're arguing about, or it's not about the money, even though that's what you're arguing about. It's the underlying needs that you don't feel are being met. And that's what we have to start talking about. That's why we have to let our partners know why it bothers us, not assuming they would know. And we need to be cognizant of our partner's feelings at all times. Will you remember and care enough about me to take care of the little things that you know that are a concern of mine? That's the message we have to send, that we are interested and want our partners to feel that their issues matter to us. And that if I don't pick up my socks, and I want to tell Debbie this very loud and clear, if I don't pick up my socks, Debbie, it doesn't mean I don't love you. It means that I tend to get spacey and forget, but you matter to me. And I want you to feel responsive, that I want you to know that I want to be responsive to your needs because I love you and I care. And everyone, listen to this loud and clear. Put down that stupid phone when you're interacting with your partner, your wife. The phone's not going to make love to you. You may feel like it, but they're not what you want to connect with. The phone is an aid. Your wife, your husband is someone that you want to feel that they feel important and cared about. Okay? At least if there's something going on that you need to get to the phone, to answer the phone, to return a text, let them know that it's happening. Don't just go do it. And lastly, check with them if they're okay with it. And if they're not, don't do it. You need to show that you're accessible to your partner, responsive, and engaged. Those are the 3 areas we know about. So shutting down these cycles is about preventing people feeling unimportant, triggering some of their really difficult emotions, and letting them know you care. Don't get caught up in these. You need to escape from these cycles. And when you begin to do that, when you begin to take some of these specific examples that I've given today, your partner begins to feel different about you. You see them differently, and it's contagious. You allow the two of you to begin to feel like a team working together and scoring touchdowns. Score that touchdown. Make it the most important touchdown you ever score. It's to score the relationship touchdown where you and your partner know you're loved and that everything in your life is about what can I share with the person that I care about the most. And how I do that is being aware of my actions and recognizing how I affect my partner both in a positive way and in a negative cycle. And take a look at the Groundhog Day Marriage. Take a look at the movie Groundhog Day. I'm going to put a link of it in my show notes. And make sure that you no longer see yourself as a component in making a Groundhog Day for your marriage. And I want you all to stay connected. Watch my 3 Minutes with Stuart and know that we're out here for you and we're in this together, and no one and nothing is going to get in the way of the two of you having a love that will last forever. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to today's episode with your host, Stuart Fensterheim. You're one step closer to reigniting that fiery passion with your partner. For more information
and your 30-minute free phone consultation with Stuart,
visit www.thecouplesexpertscottsdale.com. We'll see you next time.